Boom. What is up, YouTube? So we are now on Instagram and on YouTube. And let's go ahead and get started on Facebook as well. Boom. What is up, Facebook? So now we are on YouTube. What's up, freaks? Good. I hope you guys are having a hangout time, and I hope it's not been terrible. I haven't been too taxed at what I mean, kudos. So I have so much out, but the little excerpt that I put at my little. So if you go to Tim, you can follow along. There's some notes that I put there about today's podcast, and it's sort of like an update, so sort of just a follow along. Being said, today marks, and I'm just going to from took earlier today. Today marks the 15th day of my 90 to 120 day journey at Innate Path Therapy. I'm tired, family, and I want things to be normal again. Aware of the reason I'm here, and I'm in complete agreement with my family, my therapist in Omaha, that this is a decision. Just my haunt, the normal places I'm around. That's what I've been longing for a long time. And so anyway, it's hard. It's difficult. I want to go back to where my normal home is, right? My normal place of living. That's where I want to go, and be strong for those people who, or maybe aren't able to manage to, their symptoms today, whatever their symptoms are, whatever they're dealing with. I am able to manage it today. I am able to focus today. And so the podcast content. See, and I've been thinking a lot about, like, what are we going to talk about today? Because one of the things that input without hearing something political, somebody's opinion, somebody's idea, it's like, my goodness, maybe not everybody, maybe your opinion. I know that I don't want to hear your opinion. I know that you may not always want to hear my opinion, right? I'm sure that's the thing. I'm sure that it's true. Yet, right? Yet, for some weird, we've got every sharing their opinion, as if it's almost as if they kind of think that, or maybe think that not you. I mean, kudos, I'll try. But by and large, most of the things that people say, definitely not going to say anything that's interesting to the majority of Americans. But yet, we have the majority of Americans talking about these things. It's interesting. It's weird. It's amazing. So let's not talk about those stupid things anymore. Just a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. Just a little. I'm not asking for you guys to completely omit your positions or your views, or, forget. I'm not asking you to completely forget about, what you have going on. I'm not asking you to completely lose sight of your political positions, but just for a minute, can you just put them aside? Can you just shut up for a minute? Can you just stop talking or typing for just 1 minute? Okay, just 1 minute, long enough so that you can maybe pause and get a breath. Oh my God, get a breath, like focus, like, oh my God, right? So if we can shut up long enough, sometimes something good comes down the pike that we did not notice before, and it makes it funny. So I posted this again. If you go to timothylocklear.com under the blog, the very first note section is going to be the notes for today's section called Purlieus. And I'm going to take that and I'll post it right here as a comment in the video so that everybody and their madre can see it. There it is. So if you guys are following along on Instagram for any reason, please visit the website, which will take you to the Facebook page or just to the blog, and you can watch along there. Toys R Us is closing. Why is that important? it's interesting the way people are talking about it. So this article is, attention, toys only have 7 days left to shop. This is not as bad, but there are some of these articles where it's, I forever wanted, and it's sort of making a mockery of the fact that these stores are closing, that these stores are closing. And here's why it's interesting. From an economic standpoint, you have money being spent by more people, resources in America than we've ever seen. We're the richest, most vast country. We own more than anything else. We have the control over more than anything else and anyone else. And we have stuff. We have lots of. That's amazing. Isn't that indicative of a country or a nation when their biggest problem is fat people? Ooh, goddamn people. Sorry. Obese people. I'm looking over at Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. Obese people, recycling, global warming. I mean, it's like we're. It's I don't know. I think that it's sort of weird because, and if you bring it up, you're a jerk, right? They say if you bring up the fact that, excuse me, bottle go. Oh, there it is, right behind my tablet. You bring up the fact that, you know, or that the Earth destroyed, or that there's too much waste, or that people aren't dealing with their trash correctly. You bring those things up, you're a lunatic. Other side of that position, that's not healthy. That's not a healthy response, America. That's what I'm trying to say. The way you can respond better is by pausing for just a moment before you react and just think slowly, right? Just think slowly. Does this person mean me harm? Is there any benefit to me if I react poorly? Okay, well, maybe I won't react. Maybe I won't react at all because it doesn't flipping matter. You know, maybe responding isn't the most important thing in the world. For those of you watching and not listening, I'm wearing my Nebraska Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu hoodie because I'm rocking the fam in the hometown. Guys, shout out to Nebraska Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's 3:30. You guys got kids class, I think at 5 or 6 tonight for judo. So Mr. Nick is going to be teaching that. He's an amazing black belt judo in Omaha. And then normal classes, we got Mr. Nolan teaching, as he's a purple belt. And these guys are amazing. These were the ones that taught that they love of jiu-jitsu to me. Their passion for jiu-jitsu, for the art of moving your body like a chess piece, taking your body to the situation instead of where you're trying to move the situation. You know, you don't pull your enemy here. You get to where you need to go. And anyway, all this stuff, it started managing my PTSD symptoms in ways that I had never imagined, right? And so jiu-jitsu is amazing. If you've probably heard me climb onto the real pulpit of the social media world and begin to preach my gospel of, I believe it's amazing. And I'm not the only one that believes it's amazing. There's a lot of other people that believe it's amazing as well. There's a lot. Excuse me. There's a lot of other people as well who have found that jiu-jitsu is amazing, who have found that jiu-jitsu changes their, not just their life, but changes the way they. It's amazing. So jiu-jitsu is really, really great. And if you are not engaging in some kind of physical behavior, physical action or activity in order to you would consider problems mentally or physically or emotionally, then you're not doing all you can. And I know it sounds harsh, but it's necessary. It needs to be heard. Doing all you can if you're not engaging it in a physical way. Going to the gym or being broy or you know, being a freak about your diet. I mean, look, it's really not about that at all. In fact, it's more about consistency. And then, so you've got consistency and then tracking. So you track what you're over time, and then you can begin to really see the difference. You can really see what's happening. You can see, oh, I'm eating 14 ho-hos a day. I really thought I was only eating like 8 or 9. Who knew? So it turns out if I stop eating ho-hos, I might feel better. I don't know. So, I mean, that's verbally, of course, but you have to ultimately take that stuff into your hands, back into your ownership. So back to the notes of the podcast. Toys R Us is closing, guys. The company says that remaining items down to 50 to 70 pounds. In March, it would shut down all of its stores after 5. Boo. That's terrible. Yeah, it's pretty sad. I remember going to Toys R Us and not getting anything because it was too stinking expensive. Let's just wait until we can find that on sale. No, I'm kidding. I did get some things from Toys R Us. Rat. This is hilarious. Rats eat money. This is an interesting article that I found. At least one money-hungry rat broke into an ATM and chewed through nearly $18,000 in cash. Authorities in India said officials at the State Bank of India thought the machine was merely malfunctioning when patrons told them it was no longer dispensing money. It was out of order. Since May 20th, the technicians opened it and they found rats. I don't even want to show you the pictures because it was really nasty. It was like an entire nest of poor in this ATM machine. It was pretty wild. And I found it comical, especially when you juxtapose the current message, which is like what I just talked about a minute ago. I have a message to say. I have to do. I have somewhere to go that's more important than behaving openly. Now, see, I have a lot of things to do, and I have places to go. A lot of people have places to go, Tim. That's not the problem. The problem becomes, hey, people on Instagram, how are you, by the way? I didn't give you guys a proper shout out, and thank you so much. The problem becomes when you put your position in a above everyone else, have this idea of correctness. So you put your position out there, whether they're reactionary or thoughts, which is exceptionally rare. And I know that sounds rare. It's very rare that you look on the internet and original. It's just a repeat of a repeat of a repeat of a cut of a copy of a paste of a cut of a copy of a paste. That's what it is. That's what it ends up becoming, because it's just this cyclic world of communication that's really it's really anti-communication. It's really like intimation through memes and textographical ideas. It's not even communication. And the way we can tell it's not legitimate communication is that who in real life would never be as bold as they are, embrazened as they are on social media. They engage on social media. There are these killers. There's these maniac, amazing, like, I'm going to take on the world. I can conquer anything. And maybe that's not true. Maybe it's actually truer that, more. That's a thing. That's an interesting thing that we can be able to comfortably tell people, shh, it's okay. That's all right. You guys are on Facebook, and I've got it on YouTube as well. Again, back to the notes. Pulled up the link to the full-scale article. I'm going to put it in here. Rats came through and ate a bunch of money. And we value money in such a weird way that this was, to these rats, this was just paper. It was just paper. It was just a nest. It wasn't like, here we go to eat this money. But to us humans, I mean, this seems like a far stretch. For us humans, it's like this, 17. Oh my gosh, it's so terrible. But I mean, maybe it is. So then it goes back to how to bring what you want versus your comfort. How willing are you? Do you really want that thing? Whatever that thing is, no matter what it comes from, how willing are you to, how hard are you willing to work? That's a tough question. A lot of times people aren't willing to work very hard to do things. A lot of times people do a lot of things. So I'm going to take a quick minute here. And I do it on a lot of podcasts, but I'm going to take a chance of it. I have a couple of people watching it. You guys, Board is a website that exists so that we can help people. And service dog is when you see a service dog, what's the best method? It's super simple. Like, we can just lay it out in no uncertain terms so that there's like no ambiguity or confusion. If you guys see that, and this is Instagram, Facebook, and then I've got YouTube. If you guys see a dog and that dog is wearing a vest and that dog is on a leash and is connected to a human, and that human is carrying that dog or walking, leading that dog, and that dog's vest says "do not pet" or it says "service dog," well, by God, leave it alone. It's not your privilege or freedom or right or whatever. I mean, to walk up to somebody and be like, "Hey, what's your dog here for? Why you got a dog for? Why you got a dog for?" That's rude. Don't do that. And that many of my reasonable friends would do that. I think most of them, by and large, would leave the interacted with the person. They would just say, "Hey, that's a beautiful dog," and not with the puppy. That dog could be distracted, and that dog isn't there for the dog. And if you really respect veterans or PTSD, leave the dogs alone. It's not complicated. It's pretty basic stuff. On into the notes that I'd sent. If you go to timothylocklear.com, you can go log and search for the Purlieus podcast notes, and I've got them right there, along with some canned tea and chicken. Several Cane's Chicken Fingers location in Missouri are out of a job after a video showing an employee stirring tea with her arm went viral. The video, recorded on Snapchat, shows a female employee with her forearm submerged in a container full of sweet tea. The caption on the video reads, "Don't drink tea from Cane's. She's trifling because we don't care no more." Oh, man. Look, I know. It can be like, well, what about the immigrants? And what about the wall? And what about in Missouri are making hand tea? They're just taking their hand and they're putting it. It's amazing. The picture of the video is it's intense. And why is this interesting? Well, I remember my buddy Don Cooper. I'm going to tag him, Don. I appreciate you. Where you at? Don Cooper. Boom. Don Cooper. There he is. I remember one time when I was in his hometown having a hard time, man. I was having headaches. I wasn't sleeping well. I mean, it had a lot to do with the fact that I was away from my family, but it also had the fact that I'm not eating well, and I was just popping Excedrin like they were Pez candies, and it wasn't going well. I remember telling him, "What a hit." And I think now, I look at now, I want those things because they make me feel better. They actually do. They make me feel better. I feel more focused. I don't know, man. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's just something in me. Maybe there's some psychological thing, or maybe, just maybe, my old buddy Don Cooper was right. Maybe he was right. Maybe what he said, which is, Tim, you need some healthy quality medicine in your body. It's going to help you. It's going to rejuvenate you. You need to get your gut back to where it's supposed to be, man. You can't just keep shoving garbage down your throat, Tim. He wasn't being dogmatic about it at all. He wasn't being mean at all. He was just simply saying, "Hey, man, you can you can feel better. You know, if you just take some time. I'm gonna grab some water. So you can feel better if you just take some time to care for your body appropriately. You know, think more actively about what you're putting in on Facebook. You can simply just create a profile, and the video is right there, and it's great. In juxtaposition to PTSD issues, real time in service, and then if you go just a little bit further down, about 4 hours ago, we posted a video from Innate Path, and I'm going to spend some time talking. Pull up their website. They are in Lakewood, Colorado, and if you don't know, their primary focus is PTSD treatment. So the depression, how can we most naturally, how can we affect these issues? They use cannabis-assisted therapy. They use ketamine-assisted therapy. And these are things you need to understand, especially if you're a veteran and especially if you know somebody who's a veteran. So I'm going to take this link right here. I'm going to put it into the live broadcast. There it is. Okay. So you need to research that. You need to listen to it. For those of you on Instagram and those of you on YouTube, go to the Facebook page. I'll try to put it up in here. Let me see. There it goes. It's up on the YouTube, and then I can get the Instagram here in just a moment. But what's happening here? What is this? Right? You're for this sort of or kickback to or you know, opioids, particularly opiates, these substances that have been proven to harm people, that have been proven to kill people. They call it the opioid epidemic, right? And so wife and I, in this quest and journey to try to find treatment that was natural for PTSD, we found some people, and as a result of finding those people pointed us in the direction of Innate Path, and it's amazing. I'm going to read a couple excerpts here, okay? Ketamine is known as a dissociative anesthetic used in emergency rooms to treat injured children. It's also known as the buddy drug in the military because soldiers in combat carry it to safely administer to their injured buddies. Ketamine, however, has also been extensively researched in treatment of depression, PTSD, heroin alcohol addiction, and in treatment-resistant population, people who have not responded to antidepressants or other psychotropic drugs or psychotherapy. Dig this, guys. Again, this is at innatepath.org/ketamine. You can read these information pieces here. 70% of people responded to ketamine. For the people who ketamine worked for, it works well. We have seen how remarkable it is at pulling severely depressed people out of their depression and highly suicidal out of that state. It gives you back a sense of enjoyment in life, and clients, again, they want to walk their dog, they want to exercise, and all these behaviors a therapist might recommend to help pull people out of their depression. They are able to start doing after just a few treatments. Unfortunately, the standard protocol for the majority of treatment centers is to place the patient in a darkened room with a ketamine infusion for 40 minutes. Nerve.org/ talking about PTSD treatment in conjunction, or PTSD psychotherapy, with what's being considered psychoactive substance. They also have an entire section that you should read about cannabis-assisted psychotherapy, which is another interesting thing that I think a lot of people will already be very comfortable with. Again, I'm on innatepath.org/cannabis, and I'm going to read a very, very small excerpt from this, but it's again about halfway down the page on this innatepath.org/cannabis. Cannabis, like ketamine, is an expressive medicine. When cannabis is used in psychotherapy sessions with clinicians trained to engage and guide the non-rational, non-linear, non-ordinary state of consciousness, it can be very helpful to getting at the core of your symptoms. So again, we're talking about it as this. This is used in a psychotherapy session trained to engage and guide the non-linear, non-ordinary states of consciousness. it can be very helpful to getting at the core of your symptoms. This is because most mental health symptoms are not based in distorted, irrational thinking. For instance, the depressed person knows what they should do, that they understand, yet that understanding makes little difference at some point. Addict knows that they are hurting themselves, and the people around them, awareness doesn't change the compulsion. That's interesting. The awareness doesn't change the compulsion. The awareness doesn't change the compulsion. That's interesting. There is not necessarily a lack of insight. The driver is much deeper in experiences of abandonment and overwhelm and fear, which the mind has successfully hidden in disassociation. And it is this realm that this is the realm that cannabis used with the guidance of psychotherapy is excellent at unlocking. There it is. Wow. And I mean, they've done so much research, and they have so much data about what they're doing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. So it's called Innate Path. The folks down there are stupendous. If you go to the website, innatepath.org, you can read /cannabis/ketamine. You can check it out, research it. It's interesting. Even if you don't struggle or suffer from a mental issue, some kind of psychological issue, which I doubt. Okay, my experience is that by and large, a lot of people are struggling from something: sleeplessness, mood swings, irritability, uncontrolled this, unmitigated that. There's all sorts of things that people would easily say, it's okay, because they don't want to take Zoloft. They don't want to take a bunch of Adderall. They don't want to get prescribed a bunch of Ambien. That sounds terrible, and it is. I was on a bunch of them. I took buckets of pills for a long, long, long time. As a result of taking those buckets of pills, I made some decisions. First and foremost was to not die. I decided that dying was a bad decision. Didn't want to do stuff. And so then the next choice was, I knew that these symptoms, taking this as a result of the message that I sent you on Facebook. That's what I said. I posted, tell somebody that they matter. That veteran in your life know that you really actually give a crap, because a lot of times it's hard to tell. It can be really easy to just sort of smooth over the real problems in your life. And when somebody comes up to you and asks you, hey, what's wrong, man? How you doing? It can be really easy to just be like, I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm good, man. I'm good. No, really, how are you? No, I'm all right, man. I'm good. I'm good. How many times have you heard that? I'm good. I'm all right, man. I'm good. I'm all right, man. I hear it all the time. And I don't think it seems. Now, that's not the case all the time. I know a lot of homies that, I mean it, they say it. I mean, it's plain folk. They're just simple people. They don't speak like me, like say too many words, talk a bunch of crap when they don't need to. So that little end part of that message was simply just to say, hold on just a second. I gotta come. Say you matter. If you're on Instagram, you matter. If you're on YouTube, you matter. If you're on Facebook, you matter. I appreciate you. You take this opportunity right now to share this podcast with your homie, your friend. You don't know how to tell your friend that you don't want him to kill himself? Well, send this video to. I'll do it real simple. I'm gonna do, hey, you matter. Don't kill yourself. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't take your own life. There's other options. There's other ways. Don't do it. It's simple. Don't do that. We'll come up with other methods. We'll come up with means. We'll break it down. We'll do what we can. Work hard and hard and hard and hard and hard. We'll do all we can to help make it better. Your own life is a permanent thing. You don't have any means of understanding it maybe right now, but don't do that. Don't make that decision. Okay? Smile. I want to change the subject just a little bit. We've talked a lot about different things. Hand tea and chicken, excuse me. Rats eating money. I'm on day 15 of my journey. We talked about service dogs. We've managed to cover pretty extensive stuff about suicidality, right? That was good. And now we're on to cryptocurrency. What? Cryptocurrency. Dude, listen. I hear a lot of veterans talk about their inability to make it, like financially. And so one of the things that you've got to really think about is investing online in some capacity, doing some work online. Because I'm not saying your whole life needs to be there, and I really don't believe that you need to have, you don't need to be born again hard in order to have a channel on Amazon, or page on Amazon, or a channel on YouTube. You really don't. And it's not really a lot of hard work. It does take some communication. It does take some planning, but by and large, it's not difficult. That's a big difference. It's challenging, and that's good. It's supposed to be. So cryptocurrency, again, I put the link in the on the blog notes. That's under freshly pressed words. Under my notes section, you'll see it right there at timothylocklear.com. If you click on the blog section, a quote from this particular says, basically, to make it easy as possible, after seeing all the centralized attempts fail, Satoshi, this is this guy who creating this cryptocurrency, tried to build a digital without a central entity, like a peer-to-peer network for five. This decision became the birth of what's called the cryptocurrency. They are the missing piece that this man found so okay, I'm gonna cut to the chase because I'm stumbling through reading or read ahead, and it's just not going to work. Basically, it's as if a company gets created. Not even a company. It's one. Not even a company. Just simply a person. Tim Locklear. I could probably, if it's not already out there, and I could say, coin is worth $12, right? And then you could say, really, it's worth $12. Well, how many stocks can I buy? You can buy 10. Cool. And then he buys 10, and then he goes and tells his buddies, these are worth $12. I'll sell them to you. He knows they're worth 12, so we can go and sell them for a little bit more, and he can use them as money in essence because they've been given value by Tim. To need a payment network with accounts, balances, and a transaction. That's easy to understand. One major problem every payment network has to solve is to prevent the so-called double spending, to prevent that basically that one entity spends the same amount twice. And how that works a lot of times is where people, it's hackable, right? So people are trying to get around and work around the system. So they're trying to they're basically trying to find workarounds around the workarounds, around the workarounds, around the workarounds. So go and read this article about what cryptocurrency is, and maybe consider like what it may mean for you in the future. We look at the way we spend money right now, and right now it's primarily electronic. I would say that it's safe to say that the communication financially that we do is electronic, and then at least over email, which is electronic, and then anytime we use a debit card or a credit card or an on-out, that's all digital. It's all digital money. It's not really there, right? It's there, but it's not really there, and so it can be confusing, especially to the persons who are just trying to understand American economics. It's like, wait, what? Like, it's there, but it's not there? So my encouragement, I guess my response to cryptocurrency is to either say, like, you should have it and you should get some and you should diversify and maybe think outside the box a little bit, or perhaps it might be better to just stay away from electronic usage. The difficulty is that that's prohibitive. It can limit your freedom in life to a degree. Like if you think about the way I go to the gym right now, I use a lot of internet while I'm there. Not a lot, but they have Wi-Fi, and so I have a pod, like a device with which I can. So for those of you on Instagram, you won't get to see this, but there you go. YouTube people, it's an old Samsung Galaxy S something rather. It doesn't have any internet service on it, right? There's no data on it. It's just I use it for the purposes of communication. I'll have that with me, and I'll have my headphones in. and I'll be listening to a podcast, or so I'm communicating electronically. So why is it that so many people are shocked when they think about money communicating economically? I mean, by and large, that's what we're doing, is communicating electronically with other people, with systems, with other financial systems. So there will come a point where I think maybe we've come full circle, because we sort of, Boris, lay down. We sort of started, Boris is servicedog.com, by the way. He was just licking his paw. You should go check out my dog and find out more about service dogs. Anyway, point with which we're going to recognize that we started as an agrarian society, a society that was, this is a rock. It means dozens of eggs, and I don't need a dozen a day or so. And so, how about I give you some eggs and you give me some of those rocks? He says, sure. Yeah, that's great. So I give him eggs and he takes the rocks, and bang, that was commerce. Or you have, Dave grows chicken. Dave wants celery because they want to make chicken stock. They want to make eggs. They want to share. And the value of those shared is agreed upon by the two parties, sometimes at that juncture. Almost. Sometimes. Other times, it is a place. It is a centralized location most of the time that is designed to sell materials, at least in America. In my day and age, you think of an agrarian culture, agrarian goods, and these things are valuable. But we're starting to see that degrading, isn't it? Isn't that what we're starting to see? More and more people are less and less interested in antique roadshows, and they're more interested in Bluetooth headphones. No problem. I use them all the time. I have a couple pair. But what about the other? I remember my buddy Andy Van Egan. He said this. He didn't say anything. He posted this picture a while back, and I remember it. And it was a picture of everyone watching television. Blah blah blah. I forget what the quote was. What did it say? Their brains are gonna rot up or something. And then it was a picture of a car like 50 years later, and it was like 200 and their faces buried in a newspaper. Reminds me of every time I think about it is, man, cycles. I mean, you look at the human nature to cycle through things. Why is that important? Well, I'm bringing it. Right? Dollar bill, you in value relationship to an amount of gold. A bushel of hay was worth value to a degree, relationship to its ability to feed your livestock. So you valued the hay because it fed your cows. You needed the trade at the market to get the other stuff you need. You see how that works? Free open market. But what we have today is not that as much anymore, in my opinion. What we have instead, and again, this is my opinion, but what we have instead is the proclivity towards agreeing to whatever somebody places as valuable on that item. So if somebody says, these eggs are worth $9 because they were from chickens who were breathed on by a Doberman Pinscher all day long, and they have special eggs or some stuff. I wouldn't believe it, but it could happen. So they say, these special eggs are Doberman breath eggs. They can be $9 a dozen. They're special. They're special. Other than people that are interested only in being special for special's sake, they buy those stupid $9 a dozen eggs. and find out that they're just like all the other eggs. You got smooshed. Somebody pulled one over on you. Somebody got what happened. If you bought $9 eggs, you had one by a Doberman. That's ridiculous. Sounds crazy, right? But I know people right now that would spend large amounts of money to buy shirts because they were made by or worn by certain persons. If I told you I could get you a shirt that was worn by somebody that you think is a celebrity and kind of a badass, and it wouldn't cost you a lot of money, you'd be like, yeah, that'd be cool. I bet you if it did cost you a lot of money, you still might be cool. What about, like, for me, I'm a drummer. I'm a percussionist, and I play. So if somebody got me, like, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of somebody, musician, that I really would want the drum set. I like Chris Adler. He's cool. Guitar, and Les Claypool on the bass. I like that. And, you know, of course, Tommy on the drums. And I mean, like, that's I don't know. I don't think I would pay a lot of money. I guess I would have to think hard about some professional person that I would really be interested in spending money on their stuff. It'd be like, I don't know. But then again, I look around my room, I look around my space, a name brand knife, I've got name brand glass and name brand radios and name brand shoes. And so, I mean, there is a name to my brands, but the question is, consuming the brand because it's just a brand. It's a good brand. They have good products. That's a question. That's a challenge, because I know that there's, like, in veterans communities, like, that are real 11 gear and, like, tactical name brand expensive stuff, and that it can be cost prohibitive. But again, I wonder why. I mean, they slap the name tactical on it and everybody jumps on it. That's weird. That's a weird thing that people do. They're so willing to just swallow hook, line, and sinker what somebody says. That's weird. That's an odd thing. And they're willing to swallow it and purchase the things that they want, that they're being told to purchase. My buddy, and we're hopefully, I think I'll get him to give me a copy of it. But my buddy Rock, he wrote this little paper, not a little paper, it's a decent sized paper, but he wrote it about consumerism and about advertising, and some of the assertions he made, they were definitely jarring, because he was basically saying, like, you know, your devices are made for advertising. You download things for advertising, you to acquire or obtain something, and then you obtain it, and then it's advertising within advertising within advertising within advertising. And it's this whole of consume, eat, consume, buy, eat, consume, buy, eat. That's all it is. At least that's what it becomes. And how terrible, in my opinion, how terrible, you know, because you become cold, you become numb to doing to people, or how you're treating companies, consuming, and you almost feel like that's all you can have to handle is that product you bought. Like, I need to feel okay. Without this product, I wouldn't feel all right. Is there something, I wonder if there's something in your life that you could say that about, like, I wonder if there's something in my life that I use, and that if I don't have it, makes me feel ill or poor, that isn't not required. Not required. Guys, I want to wrap it up. I don't know, something like, it's like 4 minutes, I think. So it's been good. We've had a good little chat. Today. Also, check out innatepath.org. They've got an exceptional database of information. Please visit veteransfornaturalrights.org to establish a relationship and a rapport with veterans around the country. Able to mitigate the symptoms that veterans are a result of their time in service. And we're trying to do it natural and holistic and legitimate instead of just simply, just simply the that pill, that pill. We don't want the veteran to just swallow that pill. We want him to find a new hope, able to experience, if he wants it, freedom from the pharmaceuticals that he's chosen to imbibe. We want to basically allow him that freedom. I really appreciate it a lot. We're going to keep doing as we can to help wake up the culture, wake up folks. Again, I can't say it is that you guys are supporting us, that you guys are watching. First, having received it myself, right? I first received that kind of love and support and appreciation. And then from there, I managed to, get better, see things more accurately, and then maybe even share what I'm doing, share how I'm doing it. Because that's a big thing, sharing what you're doing. I know it sounds crazy, but just willing to share what you're saying and can mean a world to somebody else. I think about all my buddies who are reserved on social media, but inside they're raging a war, right? I think about my buddies amputated, who are missing limbs, and I think oftentimes, man, how challenging it must be to face that every single day. I don't face that. I don't deal with that. I can go to the gym anytime I want. I can get on my bike. I can go ride around the block. I can take my dog on a walk. Speaking of which, let's lighten it up a little bit. I'm going to introduce you guys to Boris. For those of you on Facebook that can't see, you're going to see it here in just a minute. If you go to YouTube, you can find it on the YouTube channel. There it is. Yeah. This is Boris. So you are listening, you can't see, please go to Instagram. Please do it. Otherwise, you can watch later. I'll post a video up later here in just a minute, I promise. Boris is amazing. He is trained for my vestibular migraines. He is also trained for my post-traumatic stress disorder. He's also trained for anxiety and sleeplessness. He's amazing. I mean, he will respond and trigger in ways that you wouldn't even imagine. He's like a magician. He's like a magic man. And he came to me as a result of Dylan's dog training. Dylan's dog training. Russ Dillon is the guy that runs it. Go to dylansdogtraining.com. Based out of Omaha, Nebraska. He's a veteran dog handler that was in the Air Force to start training dogs for veterans for PTMs. And then he started doing diabetic dogs and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, get down, Boris. There you go. Okay, that's Boris. Back to the reason why it's you. It's people. It's humans. It's people that need security. You're struggling and find security. Not find it. Let me encourage you and find security. Knowing that doing it and then knowing it's okay, it's there. It's almost like life stabs you. Life stabs you. It does something to you, and you instinctually respond like stabbed you. You see it, you recognize it for what it is, you recognize you can't do anything about it, or could possibly find benefit from going visiting, because that VA officer is very skilled oftentimes at figuring out what's the best method. But remember, no matter what happens, no matter where you go, and no matter driver's seat, that's what a lot of veterans seem to forget a lot of times. They forget that they're in the driver's seat of their healthcare, of their mental and physical healthcare. They are the ones in control of this situation. They are the ones that are the ultimate judge and jury, not the doctors. Not he is the one that gets to decide what he gets to decide, and that's great. And he should decide those things. I want to decide the things that he decides because he decides them for a reason. He's a doctor, you guys. He went to college and stuff about my body. He does. Whether I admit it or not, and whether I like what he says or not, he knows more than me. He does about a lot of stuff. And so I have to recognize that, and I have to be respectful of that. I should recognize it. I should be respectful of it. And then from there, that can be my springboard into, you know, I really, really am in about PTSD. Talk more about that? Can we talk more about that? Well, I mean, generally we start a course of prescription medication. Nope. Sorry. We're going to need to spend a few more weeks on this thing here. We're going to need to talk a little bit more about good things. We're going to a bit more. I'm going to need to understand a little bit better what's going on. Know what's up a bit better, okay? Doctor, person, human. That's what you need to say. You need to be assertive, veteran. You need to understand that it's not their job to tell you. It's not their job to tell you what to do. If you are listening on YouTube or Instagram, I lose signal from time and again, and I apologize. It's not great, but it's not my fault all the way. You're in the driver's seat or not. If you're a civilian or not, it doesn't matter. You are in the driver's seat. You are the one that is the decider. You are the one that says yes or no to these substances going into your body, okay? Don't give up, and don't lose hope, and don't lose sight, because it's there that you're going to find the most difficult. If you're on Instagram limits me to a 60-minute live video, so you are about to go away. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much. TimothyLocklear.com. 3, 2, 1, and Instagram is paused, and we are going to share Instagram. Sorry for those of you just tuning in. You're like, what am I listening to even? For those of you on Facebook and YouTube, I'm still here. I'm still live. If I lose you for some reason, it's going to be okay. When you go in and you approach these issues, when you deal with these situations with your doctor, first of all, you got to get to the doctor. Get to the doctor. Don't be such a weirdo, and don't be afraid to get there. Go there. It's hard. It's going to suck. It's going to be difficult. People are going to look at you. You're going to feel bad. Just deal with it. Get over it. Deal with it. That's a part of the situation here. That's a part of what we're kind of saying, is that it's going to be hard, but it's worth it. Because you have to decide. You have to come to grips with what you're facing. And you have to decide that, like, yeah, I want to live. Or no, I don't really give a crap about that living stuff. But see, that would be where we come in. That would be where veterans and friends of mine that would say things like, we don't want that to happen to you. We like you. We love you. We appreciate you. You matter. You're a valuable human being. Those are the kinds of things that we would say. And the hope there, the hope is that saying those things in conjunction with the good actions and behaviors that we're doing, saying and doing that stuff will help the veteran or the individual struggling mentally or emotionally. It will help them understand what they're really saying, how they're really saying it. It will help them understand that really death is not the option, right? When it comes to financial struggles and issues, veterans, friends, death is not the option. Death is forever. And it's a permanent choice. But it's really important to remember, while death may be permanent, money is not permanent. Remember what I said earlier about cryptocurrency, guys? And you were going to wonder, how's he going to tie that into suicide? Bingo, bango, bongo. That's how I'm going to do it, okay? If you understand one of the biggest things that we're struggling with or facing to be financial struggles, because if you're a veteran who's disabled, who can't work, your first thing you're thinking of is money, especially if you've got a family, especially if you've got kids. You're going to be thinking about those things intently. And then those things will become they will become pushed to the forefront of your mind so emphatically, so hard, so strong that it can seem overwhelming. It can seem almost as if ever, which is why a lot of guys I've seen that in their own lives, they have major financial problems. You know, they're going bankrupt, or they can't pay their bills, or they're homeless. My goodness, the number of homeless veterans is so high. And if you go through the symptoms related to PTSD and what PTSD looks like, let me tell you something, friends. It's going to be a lot of homeless type behavior. It's going to be a lot of poor decisions and poor choices. It's going to be a whole lot of that kind of stuff. That's what it's going to look like, right? And it's like, why are these people behaving in this poor way? I wonder to myself quietly, right? Like, why are they doing it? And why is it happening? Is it because they're garbage people? Is it because they're dirtbags? No. By and large, I would submit, this is my opinion or assertion on the situation and not my professional opinion. These views do not necessarily represent those of any Department of Human Services in the county. So I don't know all the numbers, but I can tell you this. I can say a lot of veterans that I know who are homeless, in Omaha at least, they were there because of money. And they were there because of how they spent their money and how they didn't manage their money. And then they were hopeless and helpless. And then because of their anger and their PTSD, they pushed people away. And because of their violent behavior, they get arrested. They get put in jail. Now because of their symptoms related to their time in service, they're a homeless, garbage human. That's what they are now in the eyes of the community. And they're so low, they feel like they can't get any lower, and then they kill themselves, you know? Or find somebody who gives a crap about them, and they pull their ass out of the hole, and they get up out of there, and they go down to the VA, and then some jerk doctor says some ridiculous thing to them, and they take it emotionally, and they go out into the parking lot and they kill themselves. You guys understand that happens a lot, right? And by a lot, I don't mean like maybe necessarily every day, but I do know for a fact that homeless veterans are killing themselves. I do know that. And I do know that there are also veterans who aren't homeless, who are facing homelessness or facing, separation from loved ones because their anger is so off the rails that they can't even think straight, and that nobody wants to be around them. They have no management of their symptoms whatsoever. And then unfortunately, you have a huge category of veterans in the cannabis community saying very terrible things like, if he just smoked some weed, he'd be better. Look, that's not the answer, friends. Sometimes weed can hurt you, harm you. Not hurt in obviously it is a harmless substance in that degree, but you use it too much, it can become very, very bad for you. It can become very addicted. In a sense, you can become addicted to the feeling that you get when you imbibe cannabis. You can, to a degree. Obviously, cannabis is non-addictive, so everybody's don't jump down my throat. But I'm just being really honest. Like, I don't need to imbibe that substance, cannabis. There's time. And Matt Kale talked about it yesterday on the Veterans for Natural Rights YouTube, or not yesterday, but he talked about how his usage of cannabis in a legal state has gone down exponentially because of getting better. I'm getting better to a degree, not all the way better. There's still things dealt with all the way. But again, I go all the way. With cryptocurrency, remember, it's about the value you place on that thing that makes a difference. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not necessarily itself. It's primarily about the value you place, the value that you place on that thing. That's sort of what makes a difference. So if you're struggling with where to put that value, with where to, I encourage you to start with your, hey Chris, what's up, man? If you're confused on where you should yourself, think about what you're putting in your gut stomach. And then from there, start thinking in our lungs. Are we breathing good things? Are we cooking? Are we eating crappy food? Are we drinking copious amounts of sugar? Are we forcing our body to go into states that it shouldn't be in, that makes us more irritable and jerky and terrible and not sleep as good and be poorer in health? And I mean, you got to think about that kind of stuff. You have to think about that kind of stuff, especially when you're trying to deal with the problems. You have to think about that stuff. If you're not facing those things, if you're not addressing those issues, then you have no right to complain about them. No right to complain about any healthcare practitioner whatsoever. It's taking the time in a humble and contrite manner. These people who are healthcare providers, who most of them, by the way, give a real big crap about you and really want you to get better. By the way, you got to go down there and you got to let them know what you want. You're the boss. You're the driver. My buddy Chris on Instagram added some thoughts. He says, I put value now in training and how I treat this silly body. I miss you too, homie. Chris Coach on Instagram is one of my veteran buddies that I did jiu-jitsu with. He's one of the guys that I would look to as like a guy that's getting it. You know, he's understanding A squared, B squared, C squared. He's putting 2 and 3 and 9 together, and he's getting some kind of a sum that makes sense. That makes sense for his body. Do you see? If he was to just take the cut, copy, and paste that you would apply to anybody else at any different time, it wouldn't be as efficacious. As for what he needs. He can't make ones I maybe he can, maybe he should. Ashwagandha, kava kava, holy basil, turmeric, tea. There's a few plexus products I like and prefer. I mean, these are all things that I take, right? But above all else, it's not the supplements I take, it's the way with which I imbibe them. And ashwagandha and holy basil. And there's let me find it. Just a second. I can find it. Just a second. Just give me a second. There it is. It's called Plexus Ease. I don't sell this, but New Zealand green bromelain. Green lift muscle, 630 milligrams. Lion's mane mushroom. This is a Plexus product. So you can buy it from you can hit up my wife's. Something I never would have heard about, guys. Listen, fam, I never would have heard about it had I not Googled. And my wife Googled it. I mean, but you know, whatever. I wouldn't have known about it. And lion's mane. Okay, so talk about lion's mane mushrooms. They're amazing. They're capsules. They're an activated. Don't freak out, okay? It's totally legit. And it makes you feel good. It makes you feel great. It makes you feel really good, in fact. Like, you feel really good. You're better. And then you take this stuff here. This is California poppy. For centuries, the miracle poppy plant has been used as a natural remedy to promote relaxation, sleep, pain relief, blah, 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 blah. That's it. What does it contain? 125 milligrams of California poppy seed extract. That's it. Okay. Then we got this. I prefer their brand. My That's it. Blackroot. I forgot about that. And then 34 milligrams of turmeric. Super. And another one that's really good, Chris mentioned for pains or like nerve damage or anything like that. This has in it. You guys ready? If you're writing, grab your pen. Thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, vitamin B6, folic acid, vitamin B12, bone. L-carnitine, alpha, lipoic acid, horse chestnut extract, and yeah, that's all in this. Now, you can go and buy every single one of those things I just listed. I'll do it again if you want. I'll let you take a closer look here. This is called Plexus Nerve. Again, it's not about the products or where they come from. It's about what's in the blah, 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 right? So here, some people have not even ever heard of this one. Ashwagandha root. Ashwagandha root. For those of you on Facebook, you'll have to just go to Instagram or YouTube to see this stuff. But ashwagandha root's amazing. There's nothing on the bottle that talks about what it can do. Oh, there it is. When the body is stressed, the immune and nervous system can be affected, leaving a person depleted. Adaptogenic herbs such as ashwagandha help nourish and restore optimal nervous and immune system health by normalizing mood, system health by normalizing normalizing mood, energy levels, and overall immune function. There it is. So, I mean, these things are legit. Virtually, you can go to Walgreens, you can go to Natural Joe's, you can buy them online, you can go to Gaia, or let's see what their website is. I guess I'll give them a promotion. GAherbs.com is where you can buy the ashwagandha, kava kava, holy basil. And then if you want some of this plexus stuff, hit my wife Jen Locklear up, or send me a message. I'll get it to you. It's not about vitamin C is amazing. Excuse me, it's not about the company, it's about the product being provided. How effective is it for managing symptoms? Cavalactones. Everybody needs to Google what cavalactones are and what kava kava is. It's pretty helpful. Kava kava can be amazing. It does have some of those. There is a potential risk of overuse that it can harm your liver, I believe it is. So you could just want to make sure you watch your intake of that. But it supports relaxation and calm and all kinds of. HTP is another one I take. Here's some 5-HTP. Bingo, bango, bongo. Got it. Again, the ingredients here are as follows: vitamin B6 and 5-HTP. That's it. 5-HTP is amazing. I'll read from their label here if I can. Google these things. You should find out what this stuff is. There's no reason in this day and age, in this world, that you shouldn't. Whether better or not. 5-HTP is a dietary supplement that contains 100 milligrams of 5-HTP, oxytryptophan, and 10 milligrams of B6 to support mood and stress levels at occurring amino acid. 5-HTP has also been shown to promote cognitive functioning, appetite control for weight management. There it is. This is not some voodoo stuff, guys. Stuff can be purchased, and then you get to the cost. Okay, it's expensive. It's expensive, and that's part of the reason my wife and I started using some of the other supplements. It's very expensive. The VA does not pay for a dime. No money for this at all. They don't give any money for natural supplements. And furthermore, they also don't give any money or resources for pursuing natural therapies. They do help a little bit in Omaha when people want to get some acupuncture, or maybe people want to get some massage therapy. They have been known to do that, and that's not terrible. But when you see these veterans who not just veterans, but humans, and they get worse, and then you see them dying, and then it's like, what in the world is the way we're dealing with veterans? What in the world is going on? You know, and I wonder how long it will take before we say, like, okay, this is enough. Like, we're done. Like, this is enough. We're good. We don't want to see this anymore happening. We don't want veterans dying any longer, right? So again, we're on a live broadcast on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. My buddy Travis adds some thoughts, and I want to let him engage. So Travis said, "I disagree with you. They had me on crazy meds. I don't think anyone should be on the amount of benzos they had me on. Now I just work out, eat right, smoke weed. I've never been better." No, Travis, I think maybe you misinterpreted what I was saying, bud. I think that's great what you're doing. And eating right, you're working out, you're consuming a medicine that you feel like is best for you. Dude, that's what I want you to do, right? I want you to find what works for you, symptoms, the best way you can, for real. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I think it's great. But what you have to recognize is that, first of all, I think that's great too. I think everybody here would agree. Or not supplements, but pills. Those benzos can be killer. Quite literally. I think it's great that you're off of that stuff, man. Just remember to manage and watch for all of what you're facing, not just the easy stuff, not just I'm not angry anymore and I'm sleeping better, or every time I'm happy. Okay, well, maybe now that you know happiness and you can manage to stay happy, maybe it would be better if you found a way to get off of that for a while. If you found a way to do that, doing that, maybe fasting for a while, and just of clarification, just so that I can more appropriately recognize what I'm facing and maybe to deal with it that I hadn't thought about before. Guys, I've been going for 1 hour and 17 minutes. It's been a good time. I appreciate you listening along. If you'd like to watch an archive of this, you can go to timothylocklear.com and you can go and check out if you click on podcast, it'll take you to my YouTube channel, which has this whole video documented. And if you don't want to listen, go spend the money on YouTube Red, and you can just close your phone or your device and listen in your headphones. Again, I don't believe that what I have to say is super important outside of the fact that I've seen veterans' lives changed as a result of the things we're saying and what we're encouraging these people to do, and they're doing. So we want to see more people's lives changed as much as we can. So I appreciate you following along. Thank you so much. And Jennifer, I agree. You're so worth it. It is so worth it. I completely agree. And Scott Lancome, thank you so much for listening. The Dude Running, Chris Kocha, everybody else, all my friends that have taken the time to come, I appreciate it. Let's see who else. I don't know. Todd, I appreciate you. Dennis, thank you so much. Thank you. Don, yep, you guys are great. Thank you so much, guys. We're on Facebook, so we're going to go dead on Facebook here. Wait, and Facebook is finished. We're going to post that there. And now we're going to go ahead and kill the Instagram. Guys, you guys are great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you following along thus far, and we hope to talk soon. Last but not least, you wonderful humans over there on YouTube, thank you so much. I appreciate you watching, and as always, have a great day.